What's up everybody, Matt here with the Relics of the Rust Belt channel once again to do another junkyard walk. So this time I'm at the pull apart yard here in Canton, Ohio. And so yeah, should be a good selection of stuff. Let's see what they got. All right, so we got an interesting assortment here right up front. They do have a few used vehicles here as well. I'll briefly highlight. Looks like a pretty nice Sonata there. This is fun though. I think this is the Concord. Only $2,000 here. And it says clean title. It's a 2002 Concord to be exact. And yeah, it looks pretty nice at first glance there. And cool to see they're giving that one another chance at life here. Yeah, some other usual stuff. The S10's kind of fun. Looks like it's got some little LED upgrades there. But 2,300 bucks, not bad. But the thing that really caught my eye is right up front here we got some cool stuff, a couple of classics here. So this looks like a 52 Ford, I believe. Man, this thing is old. This is really a relic. This is truly fitting this channel's name exactly, but looks like we've got the V8 in there. Not sure if that's salvageable, but man, this is really cool to see. Man, look at the rust though. That is crazy, but I loved, the little built-in fender flares you had on these. It's a 52 Ford Fairmont. Interesting. They had various names for them, but it was essentially just mostly the same aside from trim pieces here and there. But wow, this thing is cool. I love that you used to have the gas cap behind the license plate. And that used to be the old Ford badge that has since been weathered extensively. Got some bench seat there. I don't think that's original, but man, yeah, this thing is far gone. But hopefully maybe someone can get that steering wheel. That actually looks pretty nice. Looks like everything else is probably tough to save here, but wow, this thing is, wow, that's cool to see. You usually don't see stuff this old in these lots, so that's really exciting. And see, this actually, the M makes me think it's mainline, not a Fairmont. And mainline seems more in line with my knowledge of these, is that typically these without the chrome trim, which obviously is probably long gone, but this just seemed like more of a base model. And so I think, yeah, this is actually a 52 mainline, but wow, some cool stuff. Glass though, I mean, windshield and stuff looks actually pretty good, but wow, that's a cool one to see. And hopefully a few more parts can get saved off of that, but that is pretty rough. But another fun one here, I don't actually know. I'm pretty sure it's an Oldsmobile, but not exactly sure what it is. So let's look on the tag here. Okay, yeah, Oldsmobile 98 from 67 though, another classic year. And it's kind of funny how the Oldsmobile stuff looked so futuristic for the time. Like late 60s to me looked like a lot of other companies 70s or even early 80s kind of stuff. But this looks pretty nice here with the bench, and gauges are still pretty complete. It's got Comfortron is the climate control. Still the fun age when they were able to just have fun with some of these names and stuff. But I mean, it looks like original radio there, and not in bad shape for the age. So that's very cool to see. And all right, so now I think we are in the regular stuff. So we're in the import section, which I think is probably everyone's favorite to start with here. So let's get into it and see what we've got here. So mostly ordinary stuff so far. I mean, the 2000 Camry though, I mean, that's pretty nice and old. Got a Scion XB, a 2013 actually. Looks like that one's got some blown airbags, so that explains that one. But I got a little Fiat. I love Fiat, so that one near and dear to my heart, but that looks properly rough, but still some good parts in there to save. And what else do we have? We got an Altima Coupe. That's cool. You don't see those too often, and a pretty rare car. This one very rusty, and looks like some accident damage as well. But let me see if this one looks like it's just 2.5S, so nothing special here. Probably not a manual either. Nope, just regular automatic. But again, a time when you could have coupes of your mainline cars, and they actually sold in respectable numbers. a time we have since left. But let me see what else we've got here. This is pretty funny. Every yard I've gone to now, I've seen a Saab 97X. This is my third yard here in the past couple of months, and I thought these were rare, and I don't know if they're all just being junked at the same time or what, but you know, a Saab version of the Chevy Trailblazer, essentially. A pretty rare car that you wouldn't think you'd be seeing all the time, but I've seen more of these in the past couple of weeks than I've seen on the road in the past 5 years. This one's pretty complete too. That's surprising. Looks like it's definitely banged up though. We've got a Suzuki Grand Vitara, the XL7, another car you don't see too often anymore. And I got a little Beetle here that they really tried to keep it going as long as possible. They somehow broke the side mirror, and duct tape was not holding on there very well, but hey, they tried, and sometimes it's what you got to do, right? And more duct tape here, fixing the seat. They really tried to, yeah, get the most life they could out of this thing, so good on them. And it is a manual, so that's cool. It's always fun to see a manual Beetle. And it's interesting, they even, looks like they added some other door panels at some point, because that's blue, even though this is a silver car. So interesting there, but glad that one was kept alive as long as possible. And wow, you got a large assortment of stickers on the back of that one there. And more duct tape to keep the taillights. I don't know why a taillight would be falling out. Like, why do you need duct tape there? But I guess there was something. Interesting. Otherwise, we got a Toyota Solara. Those are rare. Here's another one I very rarely see these days. It's a 2003 Mazda Protege. Proteges were great. And this one, so it's got an interesting mod. Here we have seatbelt covers that say Recaro. And looks like it was actually a manual. So a manual Protege. Really fun little car at the time, I'm sure. And glad that someone had some fun with it. I'm not sure. These had the digital odometer, so I'm not sure what we got mileage-wise. But that's actually nice and complete. If you're looking for a nice Protege here, grab this one while it's here. They even have one headlight that's not fogged up. So here's a nice old Civic. Little rough, but you know, cool to see these, because I feel like this generation you don't see too often. There's a Lancer. You don't see this generation. Lancer completely disappeared for the most part. I do know there's another viewer who has one of these, but I feel like for the most part, most of those have disappeared, which is a shame, because I always thought that was kind of a cool offering as well. But yeah, actually got some good stuff on the interior still on the Civic. It's a 98 for that one, and 2002 for the Lancer there. We got a Mitsubishi Endeavor, another car you almost never see on the roads anymore. All kind of disappeared. And let's see what else. Oh, here's a cool one. We got a old Nissan Pathfinder. Man, okay, this one is banged up. So we got damage in the front there, and we got a crazy kind of thing happened in the back here. That is wild. So 98 Pathfinder had an untimely demise. Maybe it would have kept going. It doesn't look bad other than the accident damage, but yeah, that was a crazy one. Hopefully everyone was all right with that one, but lots of rust though on that too. And we've got a CRV that says Holly equipped. So someone had sporting intentions with their CRV there. That's funny. And oh man, here's a cool one, a 91 Mercedes 300 class. I'm glad I had the sticker right there, because I would have not caught that otherwise. This is another one. They got 300 SEL. It says there on the trunk. But wow, this is another crazy accident. Holy crap. It did have airbags though, which is impressive. But that does not look like a good accident for a driver to be involved in. Not sure what ended up happening with that one, unless it was something that happened with a demolition derby or something. But man, that is quite the hit. Jeez, that windshield. And it goes to show, even stuff like Mercedes, very safety focused, you know, still had a gnarly end here, and hopefully that did protect the driver. I don't know. That's crazy. At least one little fun remnant remains there with a little headlight, windshield wipers there, but wow, that's crazy. That's a big car though, whenever you see the full length of it here on the other side, but man, that's nuts. All right, let me see what else we got here. Got Forester, some crazy accident damage there too. Wow, this one, interesting paint on this Kia Rio here. Looks like there was some attempt to do maybe a rattle can kind of paint job. Also maybe a demolition derby stuff or something here. I don't know. They're spray painting something on the sides. Yeah, not sure what the deal is with this one here. Also have another Cooper S here. R56s are also pretty common in the yard. This one had like some aftermarket mods, looks like the Turbo Smart 2010 Cooper S. Let's see if there's any other cool stuff on this one here. It was a manual. Man, I remember this interior. I had an R56. Mine was in 08, but same thing. And yeah, these had that great double panel moonroof there. And just such a fun thing. Still having the center mounted speedometer. Good little cars until they're not. I loved mine for the 6 months I had it, and it left me stranded almost twice. Once for real, and another time when I had to limp it home. Not very reliable, and that's why I think they're so common here. But it's a shame because it's a fun car, again, whenever it does work. Got another Yaris here, an 07 two-door. Another fun time when you could have a subcompact two-door little ordinary thing that wasn't sporty and people actually bought it at respectable numbers. So here's a Scion TC. Always love these, always sad to see them in here, but I always thought these were so cool. You know, reliability of a regular Toyota, but all the stylishness of kind of like a budget BMW for the time almost. And let's see if this one's a manual or not. Oh, it is a manual. Very nice. And someone left their shoes behind too. All kinds of interesting stuff in here. Here's a couple more rare ones, I think. So we got an 01 Beetle, again, common, but this color, this gold color, I haven't seen in a long time. I believe that was an OEM color, but because yeah, it looks like the tops of the doors match and everything. Maybe this is a special edition or something, but can't recall seeing a gold Beetle before. That's pretty cool. Also next to it, we have a Mitsubishi Lancer, but I think this is a rally art because I walked by the interior already, and it looks like you have the paddle shifters, which I think were only on the Rally. I don't think regular Lancers got paddle shifters like that. And I can't really tell. The motor doesn't look turbo, so maybe it's just regular, but I don't recall regular Lancers having the paddle shifters. So that's kind of a cool find. And this one, if it did get wrecked, I can see why, because got some pretty bald tires there on the front. Otherwise, we got a Maxima here. That's fun. You don't see this generation Maxima too often anymore. And very rusty on that one. And oh wow, this is a manual and really complete interior for the most part too. But there's that all important manual transmission. This, honestly, if this was in nice shape, this might actually be worth something. I don't know how many miles this has. I don't see any kind of oil change sticker or anything to give me a hint. But that's a cool one. Looks like we got an Accord Coupe. It's got some mods, a little brake upgrade there. Just the regular 4-cylinder. Looks like, again, accidents here, airbag deployment. See if this has a manual or not. Nope, just automatic, but interesting stickers there that they reminded themselves of. How do you even look at that gauge cluster? You had these giant stickers. Like your gauge cluster would be completely useless unless this was done after it had been wrecked. I don't know, but that's very, very, very interesting. 2003 Accord Coupe. Well, that's a head scratcher. That might take the cake for head scratcher of the day. Looks like we got a nice exhaust there as well, but stickers to cover your gauge cluster. Just when you think you've seen it all, you haven't. Let me see what else we got here. Got another Honda Element. And yeah, I guess people are just starting to scrap these a little more. I don't know. I just thought they were all pretty desirable. Otherwise, we got a Mercedes here, a two-door. This, yeah, CLK. That's cool. Still has a lot of the original stuff here. Pretty nice interior too. And yeah, very, very cool. Let's see, looks like oil change sticker says 116,000 miles. Sounds about right for something like this. Unfortunately, you'd like to think it would go longer, and with enough money and care you could go longer, but that's probably about the limit for something like this. Usually 2002 for that one. Let me see, we also have over here Mazda Tribute, which is fun. You know, the Mazda version of the Ford Escape that they did for a little while. It actually did last for a second generation before they gave up on the idea and Mazda did their own thing. But yeah, kind of a cool joint development between Mazda and Ford back whenever Ford actually owned part of Mazda, which is part of why that came to be. And then it got sold off and made independent from there, but that's cool. And let's see what else we've got here. Got a Civic here, another old Civic. This is a 2000. Some rust, but not terrible. And looks like this might have actually been a manual. Pretty torn out interior, but yeah, always fun to see the old Civics here. This is another rare Mazda. I don't even know. Is this a 626, 929? I'm a little foggy on this one. I haven't seen one of these in a long time. Okay, it's the Mazda Millennia. I was way off, but I remember these now. That was cool. 2001. Has a little bit of extra trim there that was not factory. Pretty nice though. Almost, you know, it was kind of like a first try at trying to be premium for Mazda. This is probably kind of trying to be comparable to an Acura and Infiniti of the time. Not quite that nice, but you know, you got the wood trim, you got some nice bright work there, nice and big and leathery and all that. But I haven't seen one of those in forever, so that's a cool find. Let's see what else we got. There's an old Mazda. We're on a theme here of quirky Mazdas. We got a Mazda B2300 here with some fun stuff on the side of it here. And Mazda, the B series is actually what I learned to drive manual on back when I was 16. Let's see if this one's a stick. Yeah, it looks like it's got 3 pedals, no shifter anymore, but this one was a manual too. And pinstriping and all kinds of stuff there. Here's another rare one. We got a 2009 Volkswagen Jetta Wagon. I'm curious if this is one of the diesels that's been since. That looks like it says it's got 2.5 as far as the badging on the back goes. But Jetta Wagon, a really fun thing. They actually kept it around for quite a while before these ended production, but that's a nice fun one to see. We've got another Mazda Tribute right next to an Isuzu Rodeo in 2004. Another fun vehicle that were actually very common. I think these, I mean, at least around me here in the Pittsburgh area where I live, I mean, these were very common sights back in the day, as well as I believe the Honda version is, I think this is what the Passport was based on initially, but I remember a lot of people like these things, and it's a shame that Isuzu didn't stick with it, because I feel like they could have, you know, kept going, because they did have some really compelling offerings right up until the end with the Axiom and stuff like that. Otherwise, let's see here. Oh, looks like we got another, this Camry Solara, I believe. This one looks like it had maybe a little bit of a sportier treatment given to it, but another automatic one there. But kind of surprising to see Solaras showing up here in pretty decent numbers. I see them fairly frequently now. And we've got a fun colored Scion XP, the first gen XP, arguably the coolest of the bunch. And I believe that was also a factory color. It looks like it too, based on the bumper beam and stuff. But back when they offered, you know, really fun colors on these things, and just so practical too. Let me see. Oh, this one's an automatic, but they did offer them in a manual. But I mean, it had like the center mounted gauge pod there, and very reliable. So cool. And I think something like this would actually do pretty well today if Toyota decided to bring, maybe not Scion back altogether, but something like that, a toaster on wheels, I think would actually do pretty well for them. I don't know. But let's see what else we've got. We've got a Subaru Tribeca here, which was, again, Subaru's attempted a three-row crossover that just unfortunately wasn't timed very well because it kind of launched during the recession. So didn't do as well as they had hoped. This is actually a 2008 here. Oh, this one must have been from auction because it still actually has the mileage rating here. 210,000. Pretty good for a 6-cylinder Subaru. Maybe it had a lot of maintenance, I don't know, but good to see that it racked up a good amount of miles here, and it's like it was, again, extending its life till the very end here. But I always thought this was a cool interior, and this one's really complete, where you have this really wraparound kind of dash with the cool curves in it. Yeah, the screen in the middle there and everything. I mean, very high end. I mean, maybe it was just reaching too far for Subaru before people were willing to spend big money for a Subaru, but yeah, I thought the Tribeca was always a great idea that just never was a hit, and then Ascent comes out 10 years later and everyone can't get enough of them. So another one of those things where a good idea, wrong time. And I got another, here's a quirky one here. We got a 1993 Volvo 240 wagon. So this is a long one, but look at how long that roof is. It's really crazy. Oh, and I got a Camry wagon next to it. I got a combo of quirky wagons. That's honestly probably, I don't know which is more rare. Probably the Camry wagon, I'd have to say. I'll check that in a second. But while we're on the Volvo here, I mean, look at the acres of space. I mean, this thing's so long it could almost be a hearse. It's like, it's crazy. Looks like an accident ended that one. Again, also notable having the airbag there in 93. Yeah, curious how long that one lasted, but I don't think we had a gauge cluster there. But Camry wagon, another very cool find. And let's see if it's any crazier. We got a manual maybe here. No, just automatic, and looks like accident damage possibly, or maybe just, again, airbags blown for other reasons, because I don't see any obvious damage up front there. But that's a rare one. 92 Camry wagon. Probably not many of those left out there. That's cool. Got a Civic Coupe here, and another old Honda here. We got a old Accord, 94 Accord, and see, this one's an automatic, but oh, we got some interesting mods on this one. All right, it seems like it's always at least once every yard I see someone with interesting mods. So we got some tape there for some reason that's colored. We have interesting coloring there for the shifter and the parking brake. I'm sure there was other stuff because it looks like it goes up the center tunnel there. And they even had fun coloring on the Honda badge. Maybe they just let their kid loose in this thing or something. I don't know. Someone very artistic who clearly wasn't worried about resale value, and they knew they were the last owner most likely. But yeah, I'd love to know the mileage on this one. There's no any kind of sticker or anything, but that's an interesting one. Here's another rare one, probably not too exciting, but we have this Suzuki, I think this is called the Verona, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Verona, 2005 Verona to be exact. Oh, we got some fun CDs here, the Shirelles. I don't know if I've heard of them, but got a little bonus CD there for whoever wants it. This one's really complete though, honestly, and kind of curious how many miles this one did, but I doubt we'll get an answer. Let's see if we can find a oil change sticker. Ooh, we got a sporty steering wheel cover here. It's, you know, leather and some attempt at wood grain. That's probably not very convincing to anybody, but yeah, I don't see any oil change sticker, but there's a sticker on the front here. Let's see if that says anything. Nope, no clue there. It looks like it came from Philly though, somehow. Even though we're in, again, Ohio, but very bald tires, so that probably, although this doesn't have damage, I guess maybe they just eked it out till the very last drive there. Very minimal investment involved. All right, let's see what else. So we got another Scion here. We got also, this is the second Titan V8 that I've seen. There's another one down there, just not very notable, but starting to see those show up, which is interesting. But a Scion XA, haven't seen one of these in a while, I have to say as well. This was kind of the more traditional vehicle based on the same thing as the XB for people who weren't extroverted enough to drive an XB, but, you know, could bring themselves to do the XA. Pretty cool. 2005 XA. See if there's anything interesting on the inside of this one. Oh, it's a manual. You know, I think I actually forgot they did the manual for the XA. And also center mounted gauge cluster there. And Yeah, let's see. We got any oil change sticker? Oh, we do. Looks like it says 276,000 miles on that. That's solid. I mean, not out of the ordinary for these, but very respectable mileage out of that one there. So good on the owners of that to get it that long. Here's another interesting one. We got an E46 BMW 3 Series with a very interesting paint job there. Definitely not factory, but someone had some fun with that. Looks like it's got some sporty wheels there in the back. Let's see about the other side, if we can check anything out. Looks like this one did have some kind of wreck that ended its career, but these are more of these wheels. Let's see. Anything fun here? It looks like, no, it's an automatic. So maybe just someone that wanted a fun look. 2004 3 Series. Does look like maybe some sportier taillights there, possibly. I don't know, but that's cool. Oh, here's another cool one. We have a 07 Tiburon. And I do see Tiburons from time to time in these yards, but usually they're pretty stripped out. This one still has the spoiler on the back, which is cool. And let's see if this is a manual or not. Now, this is actually complete interior too. A lot of these are stripped through. Okay, that's an automatic, so not a super special one, but still just cool to see a Tiburon that lasted. Let's see. It does have an oil change sticker up there. It says, if I can get it in there, 190,000 miles. Pretty good for an old Hyundai. You know, especially one that looks like it was rough towards the end of its life there. Let me see if I can get over all this stuff to see what kind of engine we've got. I think that's just a 4-cylinder, if I'm looking at that right. So not as special as the V6 one, but cool to see an old Tiburon still. I got a TL there. Those are always cool to see. A lot of other banged up stuff. Here's an old Frontier. That's fun to see. I don't see those too often anymore. And A4 Cabrio. Oh, we got a cool one down here I can see. A couple cool ones. All right, so we got a WRX. I can tell just from the cutout in the hood there. A Clutch Supply WRX, but man, Celica. I'm a Super Dorks fan, but even me, I gotta pay attention to the Celica way more. STX, I'm thinking that's a legit thing and not just added on, because we got the pinstripe and stuff to go along with it, but man, this is really cool to see one of these old Celicas here. Looks like just a regular motor, I believe, there, so maybe STX was like an appearance package. Fun side mirrors there. It's a 92 Celica, and let's see, looks like it was a manual, I believe, and I think we should have a physical odometer. Yeah, 284,000 miles. Really solid for one of these old little things, and yeah, pretty well picked through there. But you can see like it had the wraparound kind of pod there for your HVAC controls. I'm glad to see that one had a nice long life. But wow, yeah, you don't see these very often around here. So yeah, I guess it is legit STX badge there. So that's cool. But let's see the Subaru here too while we're here. 07 Impreza that says, pretty sure it's a WRX unless they just added the WRX hood, which is entirely possible. Still has a nice complete gauge pod in there. And it is 3 pedals. The metal pedals. I'm inclined to think it is actually a WRX. But cool to see that one. Don't see any kind of oil change sticker on that. Although it has regular Impreza wheels. So maybe this is just a modified Impreza, not an actual WRX. I don't know. But otherwise, we have another Accord Coupe here with some nice wheels on it. And see if this is the elusive manual. Nope, looks like it's an automatic for that one. But seeing more and more Accord Coupes in these yards. More than again I thought I'd see for a car that seems rare, at least on the road, but clearly not rare in the junkyard, unfortunately. And got an 01 A4. You don't see these too often. That's kind of cool to see. And let's see if there's anything interesting about this one. Nope, just a regular automatic, but pretty complete interior. And we got another Celica here that looks like, yeah, a lot of missing front end stuff, but I just saw this body line and immediately was like, oh yeah, that's the final gen of the Celica for sure. I remember how cool these things looked. This one looks like it might have been an automatic. And we got some interesting stickers there on it. As you often find, yeah, 03 Celica for this one, and pretty well torn apart, but hopefully some good parts saved, and still has like the steering wheel and all that. This is one that at least I very rarely see. I believe this is the Mark IV Golf. Got some fun bumper stickers here. Yeah, this one is cool because it's also a manual. So manual regular Golf, you know, was, you know, a thing for a while. And you also got some electronic stuff there. Interesting. I must have had a Kenwood head unit put in. Cool to see the old Golfs. Also across the way here, another quirky Volkswagen we'll get to. There's an EOS, I think, down there. But we also have a Hyundai Veloster and 2013, so a little bit newer. Unfortunately, you do see some newer Hyundai and Kia stuff in the yard than some of the other competing brands, but this one's got all the documents here still, it seems, and just an automatic. But I always loved the Veloster. You know, you had the one door on the one side, then you had the double doors here on the other to give you some practicality but some coolness as well. I always loved that idea. But yeah, 07 EOS here, retractable hardtop, brought down to the masses. I mean, it was still expensive for a Volkswagen, but you know, a lot cheaper than anything else with a retractable hardtop back then. Just a automatic. I don't believe these even came in a manual, honestly, but pretty nice and complete there. And you know, just a fun, cool option. I'm sure it was really expensive if that hardtop ever needed any servicing, but cool to see that one. We got another Veloster here, surprisingly. We've got another Accord Coupe, but this one is actually a V6, which I believe is a little bit more rare. So that's cool to see. This one given a sporty paint job here with flat black. It does look like, I believe this was an automatic. It looked like I had two pedals when I was on the other side there. But the other funny thing I have to show is that even though a lot of people really think highly of these, the owner clearly didn't. So it's kind of funny. Very self-aware. I can appreciate that. We've got a Jaguar X-Type here, and these are pretty cool. Though I did spot recently in the Pittsburgh yard a wagon version of one of these, which is extra rare. But you know, just still cool to see the affordable Jags here. And all right, we're almost done here in the import section. Let's see. Looks like we got another fun, a little old Kia. And man, that tire. How do you get your tire chewed up like that? I'd like to know. I guess that's just driving on a blowout for a long time. Looks like they really were on that rim for a bit. Not sure what happened there. Lots of rust too, so this thing had a rough end, it seems. But I couldn't tell you the last time I saw one of these things. And it's kind of funny, the grill in the front, they're definitely kind of channeling the Isuzu back in the day. Looks like maybe this thing ended up in a field or something, I don't know. Looks okay on the inside there. 98 Sportage though. Had the little swing arm thing in the back. Back when Kia was trying to just get started with making their mark on the world with some new and more exciting products. We got a Lexus RX. These things usually last a good long while. We also have another Accord Coupe here. And let's see, this one also looks like we got a V6 for this one too. That's cool. And oh, another Celica here. Man, a bunch of Celicas. We even have a gauge cluster that's been dissected here. That's cool. Also some interesting engine work there. Looks like they painted the valve covers. Nice big intake there. This one, yeah, very interesting. Completely trashed on the inside there of that one. But yeah, I got another Accord Coupe here. It's pretty cool. And I think that's about it as far as the import section. Still have the head unit here. Anyone wants it, just hanging out. But I think that's about it here. First gen Santa Fe. Don't see those too often. And oh, here's one final one for the imports here down at the end. We've got a nice old Eclipse Spider. Such cool cars. Oh, another Accord Coupe. Man, these things are everywhere. Anyway, that's fun. Got the darker headlights here for this one someone did. Looks like this one is, I think it's just a 4-cylinder, but has some fun seat covers installed. Obviously very worn at this point, but 03 Eclipse Spider of Too Fast, Too Furious fame. Just, yeah, regular GS, but still a fun car. Again, convertible, affordable, little convertible is fun. There's also a 2000 Corolla here right next to it. I think they went digital for the odometer at this point, but let me see if I can get any kind of fun mileage record out of this one here. Oh, actually not a whole lot, only 150, almost 153,000 miles. So not a crazy amount, but this was even, you know, back even in 2000, tack was an option. This one did not have. So, you know, you just had, actually this is a manual. Now that I'm looking at it, 3 pedals in the shifter. So a manual, imagine driving a manual with no tack. A lot of people, that sounds crazy, but if you remember, those of you who, you know, were driving back, you know, then you just literally had to go off of sound to know when to shift, and you had no idea what your engine speeds were aside from just what you heard. And a fun different thing that a lot of people probably have taken for granted these days. All right, so now we're on to the GM section. We have an 89 Chevy van here. You don't see these anymore too often, and that's cool to see. Got Envoy, got the good old Cavaliers here, Cavalier Coupe too. Again, Cavalier Coupes are very common, and again, I miss the days when 2-doors were actually sold in decent volumes. Here's another cool one. We have a Pontiac Grand Am, always a fun thing to see with those cheese grater doors that Pontiacs were known for back then. But this is also the Ram Air V6 version, when people loved the Ram Air, and there is the proof of that to maximize the power from that V6 engine. And so this was probably kind of like the sportier variant of the Grand Am. I don't think these came with manuals. I think it was probably just automatic. See, this one at least is an automatic. But, you know, so aggressive with everything. I mean, like you know, everything's scooped out there for the gauge cluster, the air vents, you know, all the infotainment, or I guess I should just say radio, because this was before the days of things being called infotainment. But 2003 Grand Am, and even had the quad exhaust there, which is cool. And see, we also, speaking of the Corolla, not so long ago, we have a 99 Chevy Prism, which was just a Corolla with the GM stuff put on it. And let's see if we got any interesting mileage on this one here. This one, though, does have the tack at least, so a little bit of a higher trim than the other one we just saw. And looks like it says 133,000 miles on that one, so nothing remarkable for these cars. Typically, again, they went much longer than that, but that's all I got out of that one. Here's another one that you don't see on the roads anymore, a Chevy Uplander. In the last video, I found a Buick Terrazzo, which was the Buick version. Even more rare, I think, than the Chevy here. But this one's pretty rough shape, but pretty usual Chevy interior. But this was the last try for any kind of, you know, GM minivan. And actually, right behind it, we got another cool one. Got a Bonneville, and looks like one of the nicer, kind of more newer 2001 Bonneville, and very plush kind of interior. Let's see if there's anything on the front that looks interesting here. But, you know, they were trying the full width taillight thing. You know, again, GM often being ahead of the curve on some stuff, even if it's poorly timed. But yeah, wrap around dash on that. Look at all the stuff driver centric. It's fun, and looks like just nothing special maybe with the engine there, but still very nice. This is a cool one to see, an Oldsmobile Alero, I believe. Very plush. Again, that wraparound dash. And this was another one. I talked about this in a prior video, how you had the fan speed, temperature controls there on the steering wheel. You know, these days, you know, you have a lot of overboard steering wheel controls, but you know, GM was trying it again with a 98 Oldsmobile Aurora, and see if it's still here. But these had the full width taillight thing in the back, not there anymore, but there was a piece through there before. And here's another one. I'm guessing this was used as some kind of training or fire rescue kind of thing. I think this is an Escalade. If you've ever wondered what a cross section of an Escalade looks like, this is like a manufacturer, you know, digital photo where they show you, here's what the third row looks like. You get a totally clear view of that one. Nice, good look. Oh, it's actually a Chevy, so just a Suburban. But yeah, I'd love to know. I'm guessing, again, just for demonstration purposes for something, but don't see a Suburban like that very often. Here's a very old S10. This is a 93 Chevy S10 mostly stripped out there, but I feel like this is a rare one you don't ever see on the roads these days. Looks like very old tires. Maybe this one's been off the road for a long time, but that's cool. We also have another rare thing next to it here, a Saturn from early 2000s, 2002 S series here. And I always thought these interiors were cool. Very interesting steering wheel design and great little cars from my understanding. My uncle had a couple and really enjoyed his Saturns, and sounds like a lot of other people did too. Twin cam, 16 valve. Here's another rare one that I probably haven't seen in a while, Pontiac Montana. And this is actually a pretty nice Montana. It looks like got the leather seats. Even has the owner's manual still there. And this one I actually noticed even has the screen, I believe, up there. So this is a pretty nice example. And too much crap to pull out of the way to see if there's a DVD or price. I don't know. I guess, yeah, probably DVD player, not VHS. But this is, yeah, 04 Montana. Very cool to see that one. And we've now completed the trifecta. So we just saw the Uplander, I saw the Buick Terrazza in the last video, and now we have the Saturn Relay, the final of the trio here from the GM minivans for their last try at doing a minivan. This one's a little bit of a more basic trim. It doesn't have any of the fancy screens in the roof or anything like the Buick had that I filmed last time, but very cool to see, again, just a Saturn minivan. Something only lasted for this generation. They tried it once, the Saturn Relay, and then they just gave up because Saturn was basically no more after this. But crazy to see that. Here's another cool one. Look how classy this thing looks, even here waiting for the crusher. It's a touring coupe Cadillac. I believe this was the Eldorado. Let me see. Yeah, I'm correct. A 93 Eldorado. Very futuristic for the time too. You have to remember what most cars in 93 look like. Yeah, they didn't have all this streamlined stuff for the most part. You know, they were still a little more blocky, you know, coming out of the 80s, and that whole blocky thing was going on back then. I mean, very futuristic that, you know, you look, you know, 5 or 10 years later in GM's portfolio, you see stuff like the Oldsmobile looks similar to this. This is, I think, really kind of forward thinking as far as design for the time, but still retained, you know, some classic elements like the vertical taillights there. But I think this also has the digital cluster. Look at how plush those seats look too. But no, actually just analog gauges there, but lots of fun info. And yeah, very cool. There's also another one here I saw just down the way here. We got an Oldsmobile, another, I think this is an 88 Royale, and pretty nice shape for that one there. And 88 Royale. Love the burgundy kind of interior you got here on this. And let's see, this one only is saying 61,000 miles. It is actually a 6-digit odometer, amazingly, but yeah, only 61,000 there. They even have someone actually cared for this car. They even had a dash pad added on so that dash didn't crack. So I mean, really babied. I mean, low miles, taken care of, and then I guess just no one wanted it after that, or there's some reason why it didn't continue to live on. But 1992, just 60-some thousand miles. It's pretty crazy, and it's always unfortunate when a car doesn't get driven more, but hopefully it was enjoyed while it was on the road at least. And we've got a little bit of an older Grand Prix here, actually Bonneville. Looks like it says, yeah, SE. I don't know, is this, doesn't look like it was a supercharged version. I think it was probably just a regular 3800. Again, more of, again, that trademark of the cladding on the sides here. And yeah, 98 Bonneville, little spoiler on the back. This generation, especially the Bonneville, I feel like really has disappeared. Every once in a while, I'll see the newer one. I don't know about you guys, but never see anything this old from Pontiac typically. So that's very cool. Let's check out this inside just for fun. And has that, you know, bench seat where you could have an extra person in there. And let's see, mileage. Wow, looks like, if I'm reading that right, unless, I think that's a 6-digit odometer, 237,000 miles. That's really solid. Very well done for something like that. And yeah, it just shows, I mean, I think that motor was pretty reliable. So with regular maintenance and stuff, it totally was capable of going the distance, but great to see that one actually did. Here's another old GM relic. This is a Oldsmobile, I think an 88. I think this is like late 80s, early 90s maybe. Let me see. 89, 98. Okay, so I was wrong on both counts there. 98. It's a 98 from 89, which is a fun backwards thing there. But check out this inside. And 92,000 miles on that one. And fun dash though there. Looks like I had the little information thing there between the fuel and the 98 logo. And the wood grain. Again, bench seat. It's a Regency Brougham, it says. Very swanky. Probably super comfortable, honestly. A little small, but otherwise very cool. And towards the end there, Saturn got a version of just about everything GM made. So this was a Chevy Traverse that Saturn made into the Outlook. And I will admit I cheated and looked at the sticker before I started this, so I wasn't completely clueless. But Saturn Outlook, I very honestly hardly even remember these. But you know, had a few Saturn touches there with the center stack, which had stuff that was shared with the other Saturns that wasn't exactly the same as the Chevys, but otherwise, again, everything pretty much was. And this one's very rusty. And 07 Outlook XR. Here's one that you actually, at least I don't see very often in junkyards, a Pontiac Aztec. Obviously infamous for its hideous styling, which looks no prettier here awaiting the crusher. But, you know, again, very forward thinking. And again, looks only a mother could love, really. 2003 Aztec. I mean, they had some fun stuff. Like they, you know, had this whole hatch that would turn into a tent. And, you know, again, it was bold and it was daring. And for that, I have to commend them for just the creativity and the ability to try stuff. Even if the accountants were a little nervous about approving it, you know, they did it. And, you know, for better or for worse, it made its mark on the car world here. And fun pattern on the seats there. This looks like it's a little bit of a lower trim Aztec, but yeah, I have to say, I think that's my first Aztec in the yard, and I thought I'd see more of them, but maybe they've all been junked already, or maybe people are actually clinging on to these things, because they may actually be valuable someday. I don't know. This one's pretty complete, but just ended up here instead. But I'll save your eyes anymore having to look at that. We also have Cadillac here. I believe, I don't even know what this one is exactly. Is this a Seville maybe? I don't know. And pretty similar interior to that Eldorado we just saw not too long ago. This is a 93. I was right, Seville. Wow, that was a lucky guess. It is in fact a Seville. But that's, you know, kind of the smaller, less prestigious one. We got a crazy Hummer here. Hummer H3 06. And let's see. Oh, here's another old Pontiac LeSabre, 1990 LeSabre Custom. And the seatbelts built into the doors. Seemed like maybe not the best idea in hindsight. I don't know how that did, you know, safety-wise, but because if your door went, there goes your seatbelt. But it has the wood grain there. And let me see if I can see. Looks like 114,000 miles on that one. So, you know, maybe slightly above average for something like this back then. Nothing remarkable though. We also have rendezvous. I actually see a lot of rendezvous in the yard here. That's pretty common. That was actually the Buick version of the Aztec. Thankfully, much prettier. But fun to see that here. Let's see what else. And we have a Trailblazer here. I see lots of Trailblazers. Nothing too special aside from the fact that this one really wanted to be an SS2. Not sure what that means. I don't think it actually is an SS. It actually has, it does have SS2 badges. Maybe, wait a minute, am I sounding like an idiot? Is this actually a legitimate thing? I don't know. Maybe they're just doing a more convincing job of badging than I expected. I don't know. Let me see, because I don't think, looks like Vortec, I don't know. Maybe someone else can decipher. It didn't have the right bodywork for an SS because they had unique bumpers and stuff. So I don't know if this was a real thing or not, but clearly not an actual full-blown SS, whatever the case. But that's an interesting one. And this is another fun one that was, again, another trial and error for GM that didn't really pay off, but I think it was actually a cool thing they offered. This is the Malibu Max, 2005, according to the owner's manual there at least. And I don't know what happened here. We had some demolition derby or something, but yeah, 05 Malibu Max. V6 too, kind of a high trim, although it's the LS, the lower, but it did have the power. But you know, wagon, kind of, you know, just hatchback because it's a little more raked there, but you know, more practical Malibu. And actually, I had one of these as a rental car when my family went to Disney back in 2006, and we actually really liked it. We were very impressed with it back when it was new, of course. And yeah, I think Malibu Max deserved a better fortune and you know, another generation, but unfortunately, I guess just didn't sell well enough to keep going. Here's another interesting one. We have a Buick Park Avenue. It's a 3800 motor in there, and we have an assortment of cassettes. Let's see, I don't usually see cassette collections, but we've got Elvis. I don't know if any of these are actually worth anything. I'm guessing not, otherwise someone probably else would have done this. But a Renaissance Noel, got Elvis's Blue Christmas on cassette. Yeah, Elvis Christmas album. Another, yeah, big Elvis fan for this Buick. And it's a Park Avenue, which I love that. Look at that 80s style font. Oh, we got more cassettes here we can root around. I mean, that's just a mixtape. Let's see what it says here. Phantom of the Opera for that. That's fun. But yeah, nice complete interior. Let's go around to the other side, see if I can see the odometer. 94 Park Avenue. I'm amazed the cassettes lasted that long. Actually, I'm not gonna be able to get through there. Let's try going around the other way. But I wonder if this is a car that's just sat forever, because I'm amazed that people would still be keeping cassettes in cars, even old cars, you know, by the year of our Lord 2025 here. Let me see, okay, 159,000 miles, so pretty respectable miles for something like this, pretty good. Wow, but I mean, this interior is pretty impressive. Looks like we got a Monopoly piece. Is this Park Avenue? That'd be perfect. I don't know what that one is for. I guess not. But anyway, still cool to see that one. And love that color too, like a silvery blue. And yeah, there must be a demolition derby nearby or something, because we have another Saturn with some interesting paint there on the headlights and a bunch of other paint. Nice 666 numbering here for this one. Not sure. No, I guess that must be the end of this one. But this is, yeah, I got the roll-up windows, a little bit of a lower trim, 96 S series, but hopefully it went out in a blaze of glory. But it doesn't look too banged up if it is a demolition car. It looks like hubcaps give us another clue. Just maybe something someone had fun with and didn't actually wreck it too much. I don't know. Yeah, another one. See, so it must just be a bunch of these that come from some kind of destructive event around here. We got another one that hasn't been through the demolition derby, it seems, Saturn. And oh, an old Impala here. I don't see these too often. Most of these I think have just about vanished. Look at those big plush seats. Pretty cool. A 94 Caprice, actually, not an Impala. Yeah, Caprice, my bad. But yeah, don't see those too often. That's cool. And just to document, we still do have lots of HHRs here in the yard. This is 3 here, and I saw a few others too, but just kind of convenient to have a bunch of them all stacked up here. But there's still lots of these things. You know, GM's answer to the PT Cruiser that never really got the love the PT Cruiser got, but still a fun option for those who had something against Mopar stuff and wanted something similar. And another old Chevy van down here. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, looks like no sticker on this one to give me any hint. Let me see. Yeah, just an old Chevy van. Here's another one you don't really see a whole lot anymore, but a old Monte Carlo, 90s Monte Carlo here. Let's see what year exactly. 96 Monte Carlo. And this one's got a sporty carbon fiber steering wheel cover there. And actually a pretty nice interior for this one. Let's see. Wow, 170,000 miles. Very nice. For, I guess, maybe this is a 3800 again. I don't know. Let's see. I didn't look, pay any attention. Looks like, does that say 5100? I don't know. Someone else is more of an expert can fill me in the comments there to fill in for my ignorance. But has a nice big spoiler on the back of this one. It's the LS though. And just a few of the letters there, couldn't hang on till the end. But that's cool to see. Let's see what else. Got an 04 actually Grand Prix. That's cool. And has these fun quad exhaust tips. So I guess this is the sporty one. I don't know if this is a GXP. I don't know if the trunk's gonna tell us or not. Just a GT, it says. Okay. Still, yeah, kind of like a mid-grade performance kind of trim on that one. And oh, it does have a GP steering wheel, but I'm guessing that's... Is this actually a legit one? Because I mean, now I'm seeing the gauge cluster and it says something there. Let me see. Something wide track. I think maybe this was one of the sportier, more exciting ones, or maybe they just swapped steering wheels. I don't know. But see what we got under the hood. Is there anything here? Oh, I think this actually, I think that is a V8. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is, again, the thing was based on the Impala SS. It's actually reviewed on my Matt Moran Motoring YouTube channel. I think this was actually the front-wheel drive V8 powered one, if I'm identifying this correctly. Again, anyone feel free to correct me in the comments, but GT, I don't know, maybe the P just dropped off or something, because I thought GTP was the one that got the special engine, but I don't know. Anyway, still a really cool, very nice old Pontiac there. Also got another Hummer H3 right next to that. And all right, I think now we are on to the Mopar stuff. So all the usual variety stuff here, lots of Liberties all the time, Vans, you know, all the, you know, lower trim, you know, Patriot here, Calibers, you know, all usual stuff. And I always have to document the sight of PT Cruisers in these yards, just because I still have a soft spot for these, and always sad to see these. But actually, this is the first one I've seen, so this yard, either they've already crushed all the other ones, or they're actually surviving a little bit longer here than other parts. I don't know, but glad to see that one. Oh, we got an original Grand Cherokee. That's something you don't see too often anymore. And let's see if we can see anything interesting on the inside of this one. That looks pretty standard here. But yeah, 97 Grand Cherokee. I very rarely see first-gen Grand Cherokees, at least around here. This one looks like it was a higher trim too. We had gold badging, which usually was for those upper limited ones, but it does have cloth, so not too high-end here for that one, but it's all Laredo. Very nice. And I spoke too soon. We got another PT Cruiser here. So that makes two. I won't count all of them, I promise, but there's a third one down there. Probably more to come to, but well, it's a nice Chrysler 300 actually. It's actually Hemi C. So I just completely stumbled upon this here. 5.7 liter V8. This is, yeah, this is kind of one of the more sought after ones. Kind of surprised. This is like it's in pretty decent shape. There's some rust there, so oh yeah, there's a lot of rust. Never mind. So this one just probably beyond saving. It looks like it had a Flowmaster exhaust at one point, but very nice gauges. Still has the screen in there, and yeah, unfortunately someone just dumped coffee on the seat. That's a shame. I can't save that seat, but it does look like the Flowmaster exhaust is still at least partially there. Probably all banged up, not worth saving either. But 2006 Chrysler 300C with the Hemi. Well, this person was really proud of their Flowmaster. And another sticker there in the glove box. No one even sees that. They just, I guess someone gave them a whole book of Flowmaster stickers and they felt like they had to use them or something. Got another one on this door. Man, maybe this guy worked for Flowmaster or something. I don't know. That's interesting. And that grill is custom too, so that's a little interesting touch there. Oh, got an old neon coupe. You don't see these too often as the Sport. A little bit of a sportier trim here, mostly stripped out. But yeah, you don't see, you know, especially neon coupes are pretty rare. 99. Still has a nice back end, you know, all complete there. If you want some neon taillights, looks like those are still good. That's cool. Let's see what else we've got here. Here's another Relic next to another PT Cruiser. We have I think this is the Dodge Shadow. I don't know. It's V6, the 3 liter. Very plush interior. And yeah, someone's got to fill me in on why cars always have blown airbags in the junkyard, even though most of these seem like they're unwrecked. But anyway, very plush there. We'll see if we can see a odometer on the other side. But oh, it's actually a LeBaron. Okay, Chrysler. It is a Chrysler. Okay, I was wrong on both counts. Chrysler LeBaron 92 Very cool. Again, also another one where it had the wraparound taillight. Again, before that was, you know, everywhere. And modern times here, again, Chrysler, GM, everyone was trying it, you know, back then, even Ford. And let's see, we got like 93,000 miles there on the odometer on that one. Here's an old Dodge Caravan in a very fun and I think original color. It's very tealy color. This is the sport trim too, which is a little bit more fun than the usual. And you can see it's the shorter kind of wheelbase because the Grand, I believe the Grand Caravan was in fact longer than these, but still, you know, gave you the 7 passenger. I guess this one would be 2.4, yeah, maybe, yeah, still 7 passenger van. But I mean, I've had a neighbor that had one of these, spent many years sitting in those seats, those kind of seats. I remember that pattern well. And yeah, you know, tons of people had these things, really loved them. They were great sellers. 97. I love how they had the colored badging too that matched the body. But yeah, Caravan Sport, nice and sporty. I mean, you know, teal Caravan 97, probably a pretty cool little car, even has the crossbars. And why is it that Rams always have the trashiest stickers on the back? There's it's a theme. I certainly see it out on the road. I see it in the junkyard. You know, trucks generally, you know, again, always a little bit of that, but especially the Rams, they always take the crown for most interesting stickers, we'll put it that way. All right, and this one might take the crown for zombie car of the week here. We have a, not official, but a Steelers edition PT Cruiser, the final PT Cruiser here in the yard today. But yellow, but they even went to the trouble of painting the grill black. Again, black flames on a yellow car. I mean, this took some work because I don't think they came in this color from the factory, but maybe they did because everything is painted yellow. So I guess they did yellow for some year of the PT Cruiser. This is, oh, the Route 66 edition. Actually, I remember these now. So I think, yeah, they did actually come in yellow and then they just added the black on top of it. But man, they really did love the Steelers. Actually, that's an automatic, never mind. Thought it was a manual, but yeah, yellow on the inside there. And you see even more #1 fan there. I mean, I don't think anyone would dispute that with this kind of dedication here. 06 Chrysler PT Cruiser. Wow, even Steeler Mobile. Wow, that is yeah, quite remarkable. I don't think anyone can match that. And it's two-tone. I mean, honestly, when this thing was newer, probably actually got a lot of eyeballs. I'm sure tailgates and stuff was a big hit. And that is dedication though. Wow. Yep, I think that wins Zombie Car of the Week for me. And before we leave the Mopar section, again, another thing to prove my point here. Another Ram, 99 Ram, with all the interesting stickers on the back. It's like you have to sign a contract when you get a Ram that you have to do some form of interesting stickers on the back of your thing. It's just got to be your personal billboard. Just say whatever crazy things you want to say. And now we're moving on to the Ford section, the final section of the yard here. And one thing that caught my eye here is this Triton V10 badge on this F250 Super Duty. And V10 was a really cool option. Actually, way back in the day, I knew someone had an Expedition, just like this actually, conveniently, that had the V10. I mean, that thing was loud and pretty wild. And so that's cool. I don't know if it actually has it or not. It's kind of high up for me to see, but very cool. V10 and those, that'd be a fun thing to bring back, especially these days. People would probably love a V10. So that's funny. Just rows and rows of F-150s there. Here's an old Lincoln that's very cool. I'm foggy on which one this is. Is this like the Mark V or something? I think that's a, yeah, nice V8 there we got. And these swoopy two doors. I wish there was more room on this one so I could show you the side profile better, but really a cool car. And 97, okay, Mark 8, so close but no cigar. Yeah, it says Mark 8 with 32 valve Intech V8. So higher trim. Oh, it had a nice exhaust on it there with the rolled tips. And yeah, a really nice car. It's a shame this one's not on the road anymore. Even had a upgraded stereo, JBL audio system, it says. And yeah, pretty cool. I don't see an odometer. I guess it's, yeah, digital on that one. But, you know, had a canted, you know, dashboard towards the driver there, which is cool. And very plush. And I always thought it was a huge missed opportunity. They didn't do something like this for the new generation Mustang. We would have thought doing a Lincoln version would have actually been cool to bring these back, and they've never done it. And maybe they will someday, but it seems like Lincoln's fully given up on cars, so we probably won't ever see that. But I really wish they would have kept these things going. And we've got another old Continental here. I think this is late 90s, possibly. Oh, no, actually early 90s, 94 Continental. And has the keypad here, which is always cool to use. And Ford still has done that up until like the last year or two here. But very luxurious. I mean, dark blue interior, leather, dash, everything's dark blue. Lincoln's always been really good about colors. We see that even in modern times with them offering some cool color combos. But even back then, you know, what other car gives you dark blue leather in 94? That was really cool. Big pockets, probably just worn out, but very plush for that one. Even has the Landau kind of top on it, fabric top. Got another Continental here, 2002, that definitely did not have a sedate owner for the last owner there, with the no fear stickers. And let's see what else. Fun little older generation Focus. I remember these from the rally racing games for the sportier versions that Europe got. Unfortunately, we didn't really get anything too sporty for this generation Focus, but just a regular automatic one for that. Nothing too exciting there, but cool to see those. We've got a big old refrigerator here, also known as the Ford Flex. I love these things. Personally, I show these in the yards pretty consistently because they're fairly common sights here. But 09 had the third row, and really boxy, and you know, kind of came in around the time when, again, Ford had given up on minivans, but this is kind of a nice option for those who didn't want to be another Explorer or Expedition kind of driver. You could have this, something a little fun and quirky. And I actually knew someone who had a Flex. They really loved it. And yeah, good cars, I think. Here's another rare relic, and I think this is a late 80s or early 90s Ford Tempo. My parents had one of these. I talked about this in the last video when I found a two-door 94 Tempo. But I thought, again, most of these had been crushed by this point. But that terribly slow Pinto-derived four-cylinder, I think it did like 90-some horsepower. And this one is the four-door. It's a 91 Tempo. Okay, so my parents had an 88, so this is 3 years newer. But yeah, all the same inside, no tack. Yeah, ours left us stranded many a time. Lots of childhood memories of these things being very unreliable. This one looks like rust might have ended it amazingly and not mileage. But yeah, Tempo GL, it's the same trim my parents had, same style and all that. Theirs was red with the red kind of velourish interior. But I'm curious if I can see if there's any, because now I want to know if this actually lasted longer. Nope, no, actually, no, we do have an odometer here, but it's a 5-digit odometer on these, so I don't know. It says 59,000. I'm guessing it's 159 would be my assumption, which would be impressive for these, because I can't remember. I don't even think ours lasted 100,000 miles, honestly. But even though we kept it a good long while, I think they had it probably almost 15 years. But anyway, just again, a lot of usual stuff. The Ford section of these yards, usually nothing too remarkable most of the time. Even Mustangs are fairly rare around here. Here's something a little out of the ordinary you don't see, though. We have, I think, is this the Mercury, or sorry, a Ford Escort, just coupe. Okay, so it was one of the last Escorts here. It looks like someone painted the valve covers not super long ago. A two-door Escort. These are rare. I haven't seen one of these in a long time. Just an automatic. Looks like this one does have 6-digit odometer, but this one only went to 90,000 miles there, looks like. So that's about on par for a Ford like this. But it was kind of fun. They had the round kind of little, you know, HVAC control area there, much like you saw on the Taurus of the time. This is a 98 Escort, and according to the owner's manual there. But still, we're going to roll up windows, which means that, you know, it's a lower trim, but still had cruise control, it looks like. And looks like an accident ended this one. It actually looks like it's maybe a ZX, yeah, ZX2. So a little bit of a sportier appearance, at least for that one. Not just a boring base one, but yeah, that's cool. I haven't seen one of those in a long time, so that's a nice spot here. And it's kind of fun with the extra little driving lights there alongside the headlights. And I always see at least one of these in a yard when I visit. This is the Ford Explorer Sport Track. This is actually a really nice shade of blue. It's got some metallic flake in it, and it's a low emission vehicle, the sticker says there. Let me see, '01 for this one. It even has, you know, like the roof racks. These are kind of sporty, the stuff in the bed and the white faces on the gauges there. And yeah, just a fun thing Ford tried out. Lasted only a few years, but very fun that they tried that. And here's another really nice old Ford Taurus. I saw one of these in my last junkyard walk in Akron, and this one actually has the V6. This one isn't quite as pristine as the one I saw last time, which was almost looked like it had, you know, just been in a garage all its life. This is still pretty nice shape though, honestly. Let's see. Yeah, inside's all nice and complete. I'll look around and see if we can get any kind of mileage reading off of this, but a 99 Taurus, and really complete, very nice shape. Very bulbous for these generation Tauruses, but that was very much, you know, the styling fads of the time, and I think made it pretty popular. And that side's locked, so I don't think we're gonna get any answers. Looks like peering in, it looks like 78,000 miles. That's it. So I mean, I guess that's why it looks so nice, but just 78,000 miles. It's crazy how some cars reach the junkyard before they even crack 100,000 miles. Even back then, I mean, that should have been good for at least 100,000, but I guess it's just maybe one of those elderly owners, didn't drive a lot kind of thing. I don't know. All right, let's see. We got a 500 here, Ford 500, another very cool car you don't see too often anymore. And here's the first and possibly only Mustang in this yard walk for today, but just a regular V6 one, but you know, was the 06, actually 05, yeah, generation of the Mustang here. I always love these with the retro, you know, round headlamps, a return to the old styling. I always thought these were so cool, and sad to see that these have now met the same fate as their vintage counterparts. You know, many of them just ending up in the crusher, being treated as ordinary cars. Maybe another 50 years, these will be the special ones some people will search after, and seeing something like this in a yard might be crazy in the future. But this one also looks like it had some A stripe going down the side there over the roof. But yeah, cool to see that. Got a ranch hand for this very aggressive grill guard on this expedition here. And all right, so we have reached the end of the yard here in Canton, Ohio. So yeah, very fun walk. Let me know which vehicle was your favorite in the comments below. And the great selection here, very nice people. And yeah, highly recommend if you need parts in the Canton, Ohio area. Definitely check this one out. I'll be back probably at some point here either later this year or early next year to do another yard walk here and see what they have in their updated inventory. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and like this video to keep more of these coming, and stay tuned for another junkyard walk soon. Take care.